everyone, and welcome back to From the Cauldron, a podcast that covers all things magical. I'm your host, Nancy, and tonight's episode is going to be a two-part series. In this series, we will be covering what exactly is the occult and the history of occultism. For tonight, I'm going to start with what the occult actually is. As always, thanks to all of you who listen. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel to receive updates on new content, and head over to my Facebook page to get news and information, updates on new episodes of my podcast, and talk to other people in the From the Cauldron community. Let's get started. So in the mainstream culture, people hear the word occult and automatically assume that people who work with the occult are children sacrificing monsters who make pacts with the devil. It has been made into a taboo word, but actually it means nothing like that. The word occult actually means hidden. Occult is knowledge that is hidden or power that is hidden. The definition of occult is a word relating to any system that claims to use knowledge of secret powers or learning systems. In the eastern part of the world, the occult is something that is practiced daily and is normal in all homes and families across countries. People base their lives using occult sources in their practices. But the western part of the world has not been so welcoming. Persecution and death have been known to follow practitioners on the western part of the world throughout history multiple times. I will discuss this topic more in the second part of the series, but to make a point, occult practices have been made taboo throughout history. And in this day and age, while it is more welcoming to be a practitioner, there are many people in the western part of the world who find occultists to be vile people. Due to Christianity, it has been assumed as a devil worship of some sort, even though they use occult practices without even realizing it. But every single other known religion in this world has their own form of occult practices entwined within their religion. So let's break down what the occult actually is. The occult is not just one thing, tied neatly in a bow, and you understand it all. It truly has quite a few elements within this one word that make it is what it is. It is a deep dive to understand what it is, what it contains, and to really understand what you are working with. There are many different opinions and theories that go into this system, and many people who have transformed ideas and opinions of others past to create what modern occultism is today. So the core elements of the occult are magic, divination, initiation, alchemy, and occult philosophy. Magic is the science and art of causing changes in the consciousness at will. Now, this is a gigantic element of the occult. I'm going to start with the most basic types of magic that most people associate their work with: white, gray, and black magic. White magic is power used selflessly. White magic practitioners are healers or protectors. This form of magic only has goodwill to or for whoever this magic is used for. Black magic is labeled as a volatile magic that is only used for destruction and pain. This is a common opinion of what people who don't care to understand the occult assume that we are, that everything we do is negative and evil. Now, gray magic falls directly in between white and black magic. It neither hurts nor heals. It's neither good nor bad. My personal opinion on these basic descriptions of magic is that I like to work with all of it. I don't feel a witch only has to work with white magic. I don't believe black magic is bad. Just like there is good and bad in everyone's lives, you need to use white and black magic in your practice. I'm not saying it is like, yes, you need to follow what I do, but it's my own feelings on the matter. Most of the time in my practice, I use white magic, usually perform spells for health or prosperity, for my spirit work, and so on. But I have used black magic when there is nowhere else to turn except for my power. Before I met my partner, I was in an abusive relationship for years. It was a mental, physical, and emotional abuse. And I'm very thankful that I got out of that finally. Being in a relationship like that is almost like being in a prison with locked doors, and the warden doesn't allow visitors for your sanity, and then goes around and tells everyone you care about, you're the mental one, and the abuser, as time goes by, no one cares to worry about you anymore, and you're left to yourself. Anyway, I had a child at the end of the horrible relationship, and somehow the courts gave her visitation, even though she wasn't even 2 yet, and not biologically hers. Figure that one out because it still baffles me. She will not let go of my daughter, and is not a good person for her. She stays around to torment me and my family, and to try and win my daughter to her over me. It has been nothing but pure nastiness. So what did I do? I hexed her. Is it working? Yeah. Her life is slowly starting to crumble into nothingness. Do I feel as though I did something wrong? No. It is the form of speeding up karma so my family and I can finally have peace from such a destructive person. Do I think I'm going to get paid back for my workings? No. I endured pain. She's getting exactly what she deserved. Black magic is something that should be known of in your workings. The key concept is to know when and how to use it. To work with white and black magic is also to know when to work with them. The constant phasing of the moon is key for ultimate power to your workings. So we have the waxing and the waning moon. Think of it this way. As the moon grows in size, you want to perform spells where you want positive things coming to you. Health, prosperity, inner strength, power, anything you can think of that will be a benefit to receive. The ultimate time for positive spells is at the full moon. It is at its complete power at the full moon and will give your work that added power to complete it. The waning moon is when the moon starts disappearing or going away. That is the time when you want to work on spells of releasing whatever doesn't serve you, like bad habits, negative things in your life, anything you no longer want or need in your life. Now, the best time to perform black magic is during the dark moon. The dark moon is the period of time where the moon has completely waned, and it is at 0 to almost 0% visibility. It is always the day before the new moon, and it is the best time for black magic workings to gain its power. Before I move on, I just want to state that if you're a new witch or do not feel comfortable working with black magic at this time in your practice, please do not try just because. Before working with any form of magic, you need to know the inner workings of the power you are sending out and the components of the spell you are using. It could backfire on you if you do not know what you are doing. Research your spells and break them down piece by piece before trying. Now, there are other forms of magic besides those 3 basic categories. These other forms of magic are normally put into if it is white, gray, or black, but I'm not going to do that. Other forms of magic include celestial, ceremonial, contagious, defensive, Enochian, high magic, image magic, imitative magic, mortuary magic, natural, protective, sexual, and chaos magic. There's also elemental magic, candle magic, divination magic. The list goes on and on. For now, I'm staying with the basic description of magic, and as my episodes continue, we will delve more into the different types of magic and what they are all about. Moving on to the next part of the occult, divination. Divination is the practice of finding out hidden or secret information of the past, present, and future using magic and the help of higher powers. There are many different forms of divination that people have used throughout history. I'm going to touch base on the more common ones used today. If you want to learn all about different kinds of divination forms, I will be making a series on it in the future. For now, the most common divination forms are tarot and oracle cards, runes, pendulums, Ouija boards, scrying, and numerology. My favorite forms of divination are oracle cards, the Ouija board, and pendulum. Oracle cards are great. I use them daily in my practice to talk to my spirit guides to see what the day holds and for anything they feel like they need to tell me. I have many different oracle cards in different formats, and each one has called to me for one reason or another. Tarot cards are the other form of cards that are common, but I never really gravitated towards them. They never called me to work with them. The tarot decks are straightforward symbols. Every deck has the exact same symbol, and the cards are to interpretation depending on the question. The reason why I like oracle cards more than tarot is because they are all different. There are different cards and meanings in each deck. It ends up being a more personal message than left up to your opinion. Whenever I decide to use my oracle cards, I meditate on which deck is calling me for its personal message. My higher powers will use different decks to tell me many different messages. I even sometimes use more than one deck during my conversations because it's what I was meant to feel to do. So the next are pendulums. Pendulums are a great divination tool that I gravitate to in my practice also. It is basically a crystal on a chain that will swing in different motions to give you yes, no, maybe, or ask again answers. I don't use the pendulum every day, but I use it when it calls me to. I have worked with spirits on my pendulum. The last spirit I communicated with was a missing person that was found. The person told me their location, but didn't want me to go there to see them because they were deceased. They also were able to tell me who did this to them based off of researching their report after initial contact. I tried to reach out to somebody to go check the area, but got nowhere. The missing person was then found a few days later after contacting me in the area they were describing to me, and the person told me who did it actually did. It was bittersweet because it validated my communication, but unfortunately this person had passed in horrible circumstances. Now, the pendulum is only yes or no questions, but with using a map in my pendulum work, I was able to grab a location. It is a very good tool to find out a great deal of information, and you can also use other tools with it to get more specific answers. Now for the big one that's always a controversy, the Ouija board. Many people do not go near the Ouija board because of the horror stories that have surrounded them. I personally have no problem using them at all. The only thing that I will say about them, just like any other divination practice, is to protect yourself before going about contacting spirits. Before any of my divination work, I always cleanse my space with sage, and I will keep it burning throughout the duration of my work. I also cast a circle around myself and the form of divination that I'm using before getting to work. No one is allowed to enter my circle to communicate unless I allow it, period. Work smart with your divination tools, and you will not run into any issues. Anyway, the Ouija board is literally a board with the alphabet on it, yes, no, and goodbye points. Most of the time I work with the Ouija board alone, but with other people, the spirit can channel more power and is able to communicate faster with you. While many people are afraid of working with this, it is a great way to communicate with higher powers or spirits to get full messages directly. The next form of divination I'm going to talk about is scrying. Scrying is the practice of getting into a trance-like state to receive messages through the item you are staring into through your trance. I would not recommend this form for newer witches or for people who have problems with meditating. It will be very frustrating for you to try until you have mastered meditation. Now, most of the time, when you think of scrying, you think of the fortune teller looking through her crystal ball. That is one form of scrying, but there are other materials you can use to scry. The one item I have that I use for scrying is a picture frame that my partner painted the inside of the glass black and put the glass back in it. It's a homemade black mirror. The other items you can use for scrying would be wax, water, fire, oil, clouds, and smoke. All of these items can give you images worked through their motion that you can use in interpretation of messages. The last form of divination I'm going to talk about today is numerology. Numerology is the study of numbers that occur during a certain event or to break down aspects of a person or relationship. So for people, numbers are assigned to letters in the alphabet. You can figure out the person by turning their names into numbers, adding them together until you get a single number. Numbers 1 through 9 all have different meanings. There are also special numbers called master numbers, which are 11, 22, and 33. If you ever calculate something and in the middle of your calculations, you get one of those numbers, remember that number with your final number. They are super powerful numbers that coincide with your path. Other numbers like 44, 55, 66, 77, 88, and 99 are called power numbers. They are powerful but usually not felt. That is why they are not considered to be master numbers. We are now moving on to the next core element of the occult, which is initiation. Initiation is the act of a person coming into their power and abilities that are needed to master magic and divination. Now, you all may have heard of initiations. Most covens create a highly elaborate ceremony after a certain time an initiate has studied the craft and the occult. While many people believe that is the only form of initiation, I'm here to put my opinion in and say it's not. I have always been a solitary witch. I have walked my path alone, studying everything from basics down to philosophical concepts of how magic works, multiple realities, and other scientific and religious concepts. I put my time in, I started working and manipulating energies. Then one day I just felt it. I felt the shift in energy. The vibration was different, everything looked different. I felt completely different. It was my time for initiation. I performed my own act of initiation, giving myself up to my work and fully letting myself go down my path. I can honestly say that I'm a full-fledged witch, working with energies, elements, and everything. There's no proof in my work that because I didn't get an official ceremony that my power doesn't work. In fact, there's proof of the opposite. Don't let anyone tell you that you need to be in a coven to be a real witch. It is not true and never will be. If you put in the time and the effort into your craft, you can be self-initiated. The power will come if you are ready and if they think you are ready for it. Do not try to initiate yourself because you read one book and you think you're ready, or you tried one spell and it worked. No one will answer your call. It'll just be a waste of time. Follow your intuition. Talk with your spirit guides. You will know when the time is right. Further on, I will make an episode dedicated to initiations and how to go about them. The next core element of the occult is alchemy. While many people associate alchemy as trying to turn metal into gold, it really is not just that. Alchemy is the process of taking a regular substance and trying to turn it into its perfect form, not just gold. Alchemy started around the 1600s. Scientists would take normal substances and try to perfect them. They would also look at these substances and find correlations to magic, astrology, and religion. An alchemist back in the day would be considered an herbalist. They would take different substances in their basic form, mix them with other substances, and create different medicines, which would be their perfect form. Most witches are all modern-day alchemists in their own right. We take herbs, oils, and other ingredients to make spells. We create incense, make potions, and other items that we work with in our craft. When you look at it in this mindset, alchemy isn't such a crazy notion that people pushed aside. We have finally hit our last core element to the occult, and it is a major one: occult philosophy, the study of how and why occultism works. I am not going to go fully into each system because you will find out all about the three main systems in the second podcast, which dives into the history of the occult and all the philosophical thinkers in this area. But there are three main philosophical ideas on occultism. The first one is called Neoplatonism. Neoplatonism is a philosophy that started in Rome and was an offshoot of Plato's philosophical ideas. The basis of this idea is that everything started out as one, and as humans, we can achieve perfection in one life to get back to a single thing, or the one thing which they came from. The second philosophical idea is Hermeticism. Hermeticism is a blend of Greek and Egyptian philosophies. Basically, there were 7 ancient laws within the philosophy. If you can master all 7 laws, then you have reached your highest self. The last philosophical idea is Kabbalah. The Kabbalah was created by the Jewish communities in southern France. This area of philosophical thinking is more turned to relation with God. They believe that God moves in mysterious ways, and if you can master his mysterious ways and his true knowledge, then you have attained the most intimate relationship with him that you can. These are the 3 prominent philosophies of the modern era. But there have been many before them that have created the foundation that these philosophies sit on. You will find out more on this the next episode. So now we have covered the full concept of what the occult is: magic, divination, initiation, alchemy, and occult philosophy. After truly unearthing the hidden, there really isn't anything evil that is associated with the occult. Are we all occultists? Yes, we are. All of these core concepts are worked with day in and day out in our lives. Like I said, the word has gotten a bad name, which it shouldn't have. We are not child and animal sacrificing people who look to destroy the world and innocent people. We are people who have claimed our place and our power in this world. But without the structure of the occult, we would not ever be able to achieve our potential. So that is all for tonight. Be sure to follow my second part of the series, which dives into the history of the occult and all of the philosophical thinkers. Also, please follow me on Facebook at facebook.com/FromTheCauldron18 for news, updates, new episodes, and to reach out to the community. Also, please hit the subscribe button to follow my YouTube page to get notifications of new episodes coming out. Thanks for listening in today, and we will meet again at From the Cauldron.